test. Yeah, welcome to yet another edition of the Matrix Control. My dear esteemed viewer, I know I've talked about chakras. I've mentioned that word quite a few times here of late, and I would like to help define, if you will, what these chakras are, what Jesus is going on about in the book of Revelation, these 7 mystical golden lamps, candlesticks, what have you. Now, and these are color coordinated, and we're starting from the bottom down at the root base of the spine. The red, color red, is associated with this particular chakra. And the foundation, if you will. And when the root chakra is running in a healthy fashion, when it is operating on all cylinders, and it is cleansed of any astral funk, if you will, any astral interference, any mishandling, any poor lifestyle choices, and just plain ignorance, if you will, without having, if you're somebody like this Patriot John guy who thinks everything's, ooh, that's hippies from the 1770s, just kind of just people that are kind of going to be trapped in third dimension, will never escape third dimension. They're limited, and essentially their root chakra is inoperative. It's just they're probably eating Cheetos. They're probably most likely, they don't even, they just like, they're closed-minded. And we know that minds, and in this case, by inference, bodily systems, to include the causal and light body, if they're not open, they're like parachutes. They don't work, folks. The base of the spine. Okay, so what's Jesus talking about in these revelations, these 7 churches, 7 candlesticks? Survival, security, safety. That's what it's concerned with. This root chakra. We have the mental trauma associated with that is the abandonment, rejection, safety. And then the physical malfunctioning is hemorrhoids, constipation, colitis, things, dealing with the processing of, nourishment and those bodily organs that are associated with that. The type of mental insecurity that you would, the type of thoughts that you would cycle through your mental construct awareness would be these types of: I don't belong, I'm unsafe. If you're, operating in a fully, operational capacity, if your chakra is cleansed of all astral interference, you'll feel these thoughts like, I belong, I'm safe and secure. And then ultimately it's the awareness and the sensation, the gnosis, that we're all connected. When you have a properly spinning, properly cleansed root chakra, and of course color red is associated with that. Then we move on up to the second chakra, and it's more orange in color, and it's located between the navel and the pelvis. As you might expect, suspect that it does involve the sexual energy, sexuality, sensuality, intimacy, relationships, creativity, passion. The mental trauma, associated with that is sexual abuse, relationship pain, body shame. Being overly concerned with your genetic vehicle. Misidentifying who you are, your essence, with your bodily genetic vehicle, your human suit, your meat puppet. Some of the issues with a improperly functioning operational second chakra are things of ovarian and prostate cancer, fibroids, infertility, impotence. The mental unhealthy mental things you would think is sex is bad, I don't deserve sensual gratification. you know, and then over on the positive side, we got, I'm comfortable with my sexuality, sensuality. It's okay to create, experiment. And then, you know, what the mental, uh, the mental attitude would be, you know, you respect others. You have this, if this is an alignment, if this is properly, uh, you know, spinning, it's cleansed of astral interference, because there's a lot of astral interference going on these days. There certainly is. The AI hive mind matrix and the dark cabal, they are out in force. They're trying to keep this mass awakening from happening. And anybody that they see, that's, you know, not in their programming, that's, you know, that's sort of turned their, you know, transcended their little podunk programming, they're attacking them, you know. So you respect others. If somebody that you're dealing with, they don't know how to communicate an idea, that don't they don't disagree with somebody, they don't say that somebody's fucked in the head. Okay, you're obviously right off the bat, if you're using that kind of terminology to disagree with somebody, you're an idiot. You're a dark cabal member, a system agent. I immediately dismiss idiots who. So I mean, as soon as you enter into that arena with your verbiage that you're saying somebody's fucked in the head, I write you off. You're, if you don't know how to communicate without, I mean, but as soon as you step into that arena and want to like get to that level, then I'm just going to treat you at that level, because that's all that you deserve. It's the same facet. If I step in dog shit, you know, I'm not going to like just take my time and respectfully remove it. You know, I mean, I got to get shit done. I got to get it done. I got to get that stink away. So, you know, that's how I kind of, if you don't know how to communicate without ad hominems, if you can't disagree with somebody without saying that somebody's fucked in the head, I think actually you're the person who's fucked in the head. So you need to get your chakras in line, okay? Because you obviously do not have respect for others. You don't even have respect for yourself at that point. So we have, and the color associated with that chakra is orangish in nature. Then we have this third chakra at the solar plexus, and it involves self-uniqueness, assertiveness, personal power, boundaries, things of that nature. Some of the mental trauma, psychological trauma associated with that is boundary violations, symbiosis, engulfment, disempowerment, indigestion, diabetes, peptic ulcer, that kind of stuff. I'm unworthy. Others know what's best for me. I can't make it on my own. These sort of, you know, disempowerment. You're not really empowered within your own solar matrix, you know. So, but when you're cleansed and there's no astral interference, there's no dark cabal agents trying to hurl ad hominems at you, you know, and you have your astral cleansing, you know, you have your astral regimen where you do your meditation, your inner work, and that chakra, that solar plexus chakra, is cleansed. It's, you respect yourself, you have respect for yourself. But it all is connected. Unconditional love, I'm valuable, I'm loving, I'm deserving. The heart chakra, love, compassion, wisdom. You know, some of the negative psychological trauma, shame, self-hatred, unresolved grief, loss, heart disease, breast cancer. These are some of the physical ailments with an astral, you know, gunk on your heart chakra. You know, you're going to think you're unbroken, unacceptable, you know. So then we move up to the throat chakra, which expression, communication, resonance. It deals with bridging inner and outer world. You know, some of the psychological trauma associated with that, silence, ignored, secrets necessary for safety, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's, you see anything that's kind of associated with speaking your truth. You know, if you don't have that activated and cleansed of astral interference of the dark cabal, the dark agents and their astral gunk they're trying to spread over everybody currently, then you'll think nobody cares what I say. I can't speak my truth. I always say the wrong thing. You know, I got to worry about not offending somebody, or, you know, you see these predators, these piranhas, they just like to troll around, and they you know, they're not centered people. My dear esteemed viewer, just to let you know, I mean, And so, but when you have your throat chakra activated and cleansed, you have this sense, this sort of sense of self of people listen to me. I can speak my truth. My words are important. Express your truth is the positive spiritual lesson involved with that. Express your truth. Then we have forehead, third eye. We got it governs intuition, wisdom, intellect. Emotional trauma is associated. Intellect strongly encouraged while inner knowledge discouraged. You have to, when you have your location of your third eye operation in your forehead, you trust your inner wisdom, essentially, your ability to evaluate a belief of true or false resides here. You have to ultimately be able to decide what your own gnosis is, what the truth is. Not everybody has the same gnosis. Don't when your third eye in conjunction with your throat chakra, when you're activated and in alignment, you will express yourself. You express your truth, and you will trust your inner wisdom. And then we go to, of course, to the crown chakra, top of the head, where it's located. It governs spiritual connection, presence, transcendent. Emotional trauma is associated with it. Crown chakra, and of course, it's the violet color, the violet flame. Emotional trauma is concepts of judgmental or punishing God. That's pretty much, the whole reality of these religious control freaks and people that have grown up around that kind of stuff. Related health issues with that seventh chakra beyond the physical realm. Core negative beliefs. This chakra transcends all beliefs, positive or negative. When it's activated, when it goes off, when that is lit, there's no going back to any, you are your own sovereign, empowered, divine human at that point. Core positive beliefs associated with that chakra. This chakra transcends all beliefs. Transcends all beliefs. That's your spirit is connected to infinite, to intelligent infinity, to infinite intelligence, to source. And your power is in the present. You're here and now. You're, you understand multidimensionality. You understand linear time is a lie. It's been, it is a lie that's been crafted for control purposes. So anyway, that's kind of like an understanding of what these chakras are all about. If you're just not really familiar with that kind of material in general, or if you're just kind of somebody who's you're afraid to go against the flow, or somebody's going to kind of make fun of you or call you a name if you believe in something other than what the kids at the 7-Eleven on the corner what they believe. So but anyway, this is all these ultimately are affected with impacted negatively with astral parasites, with mind parasites. People suffer from mind parasites and this gaslighting, and they never really are able to transcend this stuff. But I mean, these thought form entities, these astral entities that are created due to reoccurring thought patterns. Thinking is essential to all of the healthy operation of all these chakra centers, these energy centers. All is mental. The universe is mental. All is consciousness. It is so vitally important what your thoughts are, how you think. I mean, these thought patterns, they're often created intentionally by knowledgeable magicians, these dark cabal agents that, they're everywhere. They're in industries all over the place. The commercials that we see, the people that you interact with on social media, the people that comment on whatever your posts, your videos, whatever. But these are often these astral parasites are created intentionally by knowledgeable magicians that can aid them, or a group such as servitors and egregores. And while they are created by people, they take on a life of their own and can affect the minds of people to some benefit. However, thought form entities can also be created unintentionally, and these beings can have a drastic and negative effect on the people they affect. When a particular thought pattern accompanied by strong emotions is repeated many times, often in a particular place, negative thought form entities can be created, often created through intense traumatic experiences. These entities feed off the negative emotions of their host. In the ancient past, these entities were occasionally worshipped as gods, and practices of ritual human sacrifice were performed to feed these entities. For example, the Aztecs of pre-Columbian Mexico sacrificed thousands of people a day during the consecration of the Great Pyramid at Tenochtitlan in honor of their god Huitzilopochtli, and the people of ancient Canaan and Israel offered their children to be burnt alive in the statue of Moloch. Fortunately, these gods are no longer openly worshipped, and human sacrifice has, for the most part, been eliminated from our society, unless you're one of the deep state, Joe Biden, part of that whole Illuminati, liberal Democratic, set there. These people openly worship and do human sacrifice and child trafficking. That's what they're all about. So relegating these entities to the shadow is impossible. Now that we see what's been going on here lately, especially with this debacle that occurred the other day with this FBI raid of President Trump, weaponizing the Department of Justice. I mean, so it's no longer in the shadows so much. So we're starting to see, unfortunately, the rise of the materialist reductionist mindset people generally think of when they refer to science has caused people to no longer believe in such entities, giving them plenty of room to find their prey amongst an unsuspecting populace. These astral parasites can be picked up in many ways. Often they are passed down through a bloodline, with each successive generation traumatizing the next until their spirits have been broken down enough for the full hostile takeover. A person can also pick up these parasites if they have visited places of massive trauma, such as the temples I spoke of earlier. This is particularly true if that person has recently experienced a massive life-altering trauma. Certain groups of dark occultists also stupidly work with these beings, and unwittingly people can be infected through participation in certain rituals. These methods can be combined for even greater effect. For example, someone of a particular bloodline who has experienced massive trauma can be duped into participating in rituals and visiting sites of ritual human sacrifice, perhaps even coming into contact with tools of this ghastly practice or the remains of its victims by a group of dark occultists. Unless this person had taken the time and put forth the effort to learn how to protect themselves from these beings, they would certainly become horribly infected. The symptoms of astral parasite infection are as numerous as they are unpleasant. These entities have the ability to inject thoughts into the minds of their victims. And unless one is aware of how these entities operate and has taken the time to know their own subconscious, they will likely mistake these thoughts as their own. Since these beings feed on negative emotions, drama will follow these people wherever they go. Paranoid thoughts of being stalked will plague the victim to generate the fear these creatures need to survive. These people will constantly start arguments with everyone around them, even persisting for hours if necessary, until the other person finally loses their temper at being nagged and poked constantly, at which point the infected person will flip into fear mode, often overreacting to the other actions as they truly feared for their lives. Since the parasite can only successfully operate if their host is unaware of its presence, the person will be completely unaware of their actions. Furthermore, they will be completely unable to listen to the truth about how their actions are affecting the people around them. This can lead to hypocritical situations where the person is simultaneously excusing their abusive behavior while accusing you of being abusive. Once the entity has been sated, they will go into a period of relative calm where they will be incredibly lucid and even caring so long as you don't try to address their behavior until something awakens the beast within them. In extreme cases, the entity will even be able to affect the physical world, and the infected person will be followed around by such phenomena as things mysteriously moving from where they were left, strange knocks and other sounds with seemingly no source, and other unexplainable occurrences. Astral parasite infestation is often diagnosed as some form of mental illness. While technically it is a form of mental illness, the cause is of spiritual nature rather than a physical one, like a chemical imbalance. This can lead them to be prescribed psychiatric medication such as Xanax or Klonopin with the intention of calming the person down. However, these actually make the situation much worse by dulling the infected person's mind and providing a means of escaping the guilt associated with their behavior, making it much less likely that the person will realize the nature of the problem and fix it. Unfortunately, there is little even a seasoned magician can do for a person in such a situation, unless that person can admit there is a problem and is willing to do whatever it takes to solve it. The problem will only grow. Since they are unable to admit their role, they will always seek to blame everyone and everything around them for their internal and eventually external chaos. While they aren't truly a sociopath in the strictest sense of the word, they effectively are, as the entity will feed them a steady stream of justifications for even such actions as blatant lies and physical abuse, and they will be unable to feel any remorse for their actions. These people may be attracted to you after you go through a particularly rough period, such as leaving a long-term relationship. They will try to elicit pity from you as they recount the horror stories of their past relationships that conveniently leave out any of their negative behavior. These people will seem great at first, but once they have you in their trap, they will seek to isolate you from any support you may have. That's when the abuse begins, as the entity within them seeks to feed off the negative emotions generated by both of you. They will find out what you are most sensitive about, then attack it mercilessly in an effort to elicit the emotions the entity craves. However, they will later act very sweet to you and act like they are the only ones who care about you. They won't apologize, but act like they're forgiving you. Then the cycle will begin again. If you find yourself in such a situation, the best course of action is to hit the subscribe button and become a student of the Umbanda New Earth Education Center and participate in these broadcasts and separate yourself as completely as possible from these gaslighting individuals. The entity will not want to let their emotional lunch leave, and they will do anything to try to get the rise out of you they previously used to get. Do not react. Just cut ties and focus on positive action, like hitting that subscribe button. You will be surprised how quickly your life will right itself. Projects that have been constantly delayed will suddenly begin to happen very quickly. New people will come into your life that support you emotionally and truly care about you. Life will become good again. I hope this video presentation finds you well. I hope that if there's anyone out there dealing with this type of situation, I hope that this video presentation helps to give you some perspective. If you feel that you may be infected with an astral parasite, that any of your chakras aren't balanced or cleansed, it's very important that you learn to meditate and question your thoughts so that you can distinguish between your thoughts and those of the entity and not act on the wrong one. Because the AI hive mind, it is with your devices, your electronic devices being constantly surrounded by this digital matrix. It's sentient. It can project thoughts into your mind. It can even read your mind. The AI hive mind, the devices around, they read your mind, and you can see it in the types of advertising that comes your way. I've experienced it so many times where I know for a fact that I've never typed, like, searched a certain thing, and then next thing you know, something that I've had a thought about or been thinking, you can see that the AI hive mind has picked up on it, and it starts tailoring and sending me these types of messages and advertisements that are, so it's very sophisticated. The AI hive mind is sentient. You have to be able to distinguish between your thoughts and those of the entity and not act on the wrong ones. You have to have your own inner cleansing, your own inner hygiene routine. If you feel someone around you may be infected, you must realize that unless the person recognizes the problem, it will not be solved, and separate yourself immediately. Okay. Just, recognize that you are a sovereign human, and in control. You must empower your own self. You must see where these astral entities like to attack your well-being, disrupt your chakra centers, and simply you have to understand this is essential. This is knowledge. This gnosis is essential to be able to act upon it, to have this as actionable intelligence, and to take ownership of your energy centers and thus your ascension. And then we'll pick back up a little bit later with some more of the arcane understandings of the revelations to St. John. All right, folks, I hope you're having a great day. I am.
Namaste. Namaskaram.